Good countdown, 69 Pendolo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I had a couple of little settings to tweak before I went live, but how's everyone doing? Welcome to the LDO Voron 2.4 pre-release kit Hangout stream. Everybody that said hi, I just want to say hi back. So the plan today, well, the plan for this build is not to try to do a big marathon build. This will be broken up into much shorter segments, but frequent. So this was provided to me from LDO as a pre-release kind of feedback type kit. The idea is that build it, take notes on anything that's going on, so that the kit that goes out to production is just that much better. So with that, a normal, like the Trident build stream took me 7 weeks to build, and that's not fair to LDO. They're being gracious enough to let me stream this. So the idea is we're going to do consecutive day streaming. So we'll do a few hours today, a few hours over the next few days, and then take a break for Christmas. And the plan is to come back the day after Christmas, next Sunday. We'll see how that goes, depending on how the weekend goes. But so yeah, I'm excited. So this is we'll go over kind of a general overview of the kit here in a second. This is a 300 build. And yeah, as you can see, it's the blue frame. So I've unboxed it. I wanted to do some prep before this stream because a lot of what I was doing wasn't going to be efficient on stream. I was checking extrusions, counting all the hardware, just kind of generally making sure everything's here. There's a couple of notes I've already taken. So blue frame. So let's just go through real quick, super high overview of what's in every box before we get started. So yeah, let's start with the motion box. So it has these style 80 tooth pulleys. Well, deadly. I figured LDO. I chose the blue frame because I don't have a large printer in a blue frame. I have a V0. My very first LDO frame was the blue pre-production V0 frame. And of the choices available, I didn't have a large format blue. Now I built the red switch wire. I won't be keeping that one, so we'll see what the future holds. But Dickie V, $20. Thank you very much. And then the blue shirt, yes, it's because it's an LDO themed stream. So, oh, okay. A little feedback on a loud mic. So let's just bump this down just a little bit and let me know if I went too far either direction on that, guys. Martin the engineer, is Loctite blue in the kit? No. So LDO included some of the fluid type stuff in the early V0.1 kits, and they were getting held up in customs, different customs, so they had to stop doing that. That's why the 0.1s started coming with silicone pre-applied to the heaters already installed. So there isn't any Loctite. However, I have my Loctite stick here on the ready. Dark Neutrino. You are building it with the R2 parts, right? Yes. So we'll get into that. These parts are not quite ready for release, but we're going to, mostly because we need to have a complete release package. But we will be building this kit with the 2.4 R2 printed parts. So Sanity. So you didn't miss much. We're just talking about how the stream's gonna go. I'm gonna stream for a few hours today, and then over the next several days, a few more hours, consecutive streams. Now, let me touch on that. I appreciate that. I really like my 10 a.m. for me, Sunday time slot. I know that helps with my worldwide audience, and I want to cater to that, but I've got this conflicting requirement of getting quick feedback to LDO. So the weekday streams are going to have to be after my day job. So they will be starting about 6 p.m. Pacific time. All of these will be shorter streams, like on the order of about an hour and a half. So hopefully those of you that can't watch them live will still, there'll be smaller chunks to consume. They pre-Loctite screws. The intent is for those that need Loctite to be pre-Loctited. One of the feedback things here is because of that process, the grub screws got missed in this kit, so I have plenty, and I'll be Loctiting them myself. Viking Cat, do you feel the RTV is necessary? I noticed some of your build plates don't have it. I haven't put it on any of my self-sourced, self-done builds. I haven't yet had a problem, but it's a good idea to have it. Kinovo's official recommendation is a bead of silicone around the edge of the plate, so I recommend that as well. Although I don't do as I say, not as I do type thing. Let's see, try to catch up a little bit. I mean, when we're talking about something like that, I have to give the safest recommendations. The safest recommendations to use it. Let's see. I'll try to pay as much attention to chat as possible, but I do want to make progress on this. I love chatting with you guys, though. So, Skyblock is Pog $4.99. Thank you. Have you or will you do a Voron Trident kit build from Fazetic or some other company? So I did the self-source build, the series with the orange Trident here. I do plan or hope to be involved if LDO does a Trident kit. I hope I'm involved in that, and if so, I will be streaming that. I don't have any idea exactly when the kit will be available. Sometime within the next few months. Worldwide shipping and sourcing problems are putting a wrench in the gears of everything. So let's go. Okay, so these are the style 80 tooth pulleys. It has what appears to be well machined other pulleys, bags of bearings, genuine Bondtech hardware for afterburner, more bearings. The style, the machining style on the idlers appear to be more along the gates with the smaller diameter flanges. The gate style, I don't know where they actually came from. And yeah, another bit of feedback is these 60 millimeter shafts do not have the flats ground in them, but the production units are supposed to, I think. And this is a neat thing that they're going to be doing. This is the tension screw, thumb screw, and it is custom. And another bit of custom is the washer on the end is fixed. So there we go. It won't there's a shoulder there, so the washer won't come out. I think it'll unthread, so you can replace it if you need to, but yeah. Daniel Bjorg, will this use Clockwork 2 and Stealth Burner? Not yet. So there are some LDO official options that they kind of include in here. One of those is like hardware for a clicky probe. That I'm going to assemble this with the Omron probe first, and then do probably more content, right? Do a stream of doing some of the modifications, clicky probe, stealth burner, that kind of thing. Stealth burner will not be the official hot end setup for this on release, since that's being released as beta. We're going to give it some time to bake, so all the first LDO kits, I believe, are going to be coming with the afterburner, in Clockwork 1 stuff. Okay, so that's that box. We're going to take probably an hour just going through boxes. Morning, Tracy. So this will be built as a the X carriage. Someone came up. We'll be building it. It will be MGN 12 instead of the dual MGN 9. In 69 Pandolo, never more filters in the kit. They include the 5015 fan and extra magnets, I think, but they do not include the carbon media. This is not a calibrated build surface, but it's about as flat as I can get, given that my bench here has a known warp to it. So let's go through a couple more things. Fasteners, tools, and miscellaneous. So I've already kind of somewhat organized the fasteners here. Other things that came in it, the zip ties, 3mm inner diameter PTFE, some VHB tape, a lot of 3x6 magnets. This is the Nevermore thing. And a reasonable collection of tools. And I like the little flathead for the controller. That one's nice. It'll take up less space in my toolbox than the one I've been using. Yeah. All the Allen wrenches have this coating on them, and there are ball end versions. Are they all ball end? I'll be using my own tools. Yeah, I think they're all ball ends. And then it has the, let me pull it out here. The heat set insert tool that fits with some soldering irons. Mike G, unrelated question to this build, did you ever get the Waveshare camera set up? Not yet. I did finally, the maker of that mod got back to me today, so we're gonna communicate a little bit, I hope, and figure out what the intended wire routing is on that. The other thing this comes with are some cast aluminum, die cast, whatever, handles for the top, which is kind of neat. And then there's a printed part, so these will sit. Oh, you can't see that. We'll see those later. Skyblock is Pog, $4.99 again, thank you. In your opinion, what's easier to build, a Voron 2.4 or Trident, and what's your favorite? So, for sure, the easier build is the Trident. The whole quad gantry setup adds a level of complication to a Voron 2.4 build. I like both of them. My bias is towards a Trident because I designed most of it. Let's just say that way. I took a lot of parts from Voron 2 and made it work with the Z assembly from Trident. Belt chains and fans. Let's speed through here. This box has the guitar amplifier style feet. That's what we're moving to, although the compressor feet still work on the R2 parts. We got the 188 tooth belts, and they are labeled as gates. 9mm belt gates as well, and the 6mm belt gates. I'm not biased at all, that's right. GDS time fans. These are the controller, the electronics bay fans. They're spliced. Redblock is Pog. Thank you again. I'm going to build a Trident soon. I was wondering what kit you would recommend, or should I self-source? I'm going to go with the same caution with kits. Is if you're going to buy a kit, make sure that the supplier is very explicit about the parts they're including. Ask questions. Send them questions on that. A kit can really save a lot of money in shipping, but just know what you're getting into. I'm not going to make a recommendation on what kit to buy. I don't even know what ones are out there. Nero just did a stream yesterday on the unboxing of his Fazetic kit, yeah, so I don't know which one, but if you do buy a kit, there's nothing wrong with buying a kit as long as you know what you're getting. The problem is that the biggest problem with kits is that over time, parts, supplies, whatever, they can swap parts out. And if they don't make a decision that you're aware of and it affects your build, then you're in a tough spot. Oh, well, Charlie really wants some attention. So we're gonna get an early Charlie visit. I think that's the first time he's jumped up here. Hi, Asa. Okay, we're gonna keep going. So all these fans are DDS time, and they are terminated and cut to length for the hardware here. This is the 5015 they include for what would be the Nevermore, or you could use it for Stealth Burner. You'd have to redo the wire. And then the 4020 fan, we'll have to take the front cover off of this. All of the cable chains are a generic supplier, but they have the IGUS 2-hole pattern. Skyblock is Pog, thank you again. Also, is the wiring hard for Trident? Also QCat. I think the wiring is slightly easier than on Voron 2 because you don't have to go through the extra Z chain for your main gantry wiring. You still have a Z chain for your bed wiring, but there's much fewer. Otherwise, they should be pretty much equivalent in wiring. It's all the same components. Duff, Cato, 699, thank you. Okay, let me get all this back in here. Hi, Charlie. We got a cable kit. What is the cable kit? Oh, all the cables. I'm not going to open these up individually. It's similar to the Trident build, or the switch wire build that I did. Everything's pre-terminated, pre-cut. It even comes with LED strips for the enclosure lighting. The controller is an octopus. The electronics. Move this out of the way. Comes with a 16 gig Kingston card. It comes with a Ethernet Keystone jack for the back. It does come with the Ethernet cable. Comes with this style power inlet, an Omron SSD, the mount for it. Nice thing that they included here that I didn't get in the switchwire kit is a heatsink for the Pi, and it comes with the Pi 3, and that'll be a Pi 3B plus. A little bit of foil tape for protecting the probe. Morning, Nero. And a Big Tree Tech Mini 12864 display. does not include the SSD card for the controller. So, second page. On the FAT PTFE or silicone cables, it'll be FAT PTFE type stuff. Tracy Moon, $4.99, thank you. Just, I mean, I've said this before, just a quick say it, anything that comes through in the channel and super chats or whatever, everything right now is going to go to equipment to improve my stream. I need some lighting, I probably need a better microphone setup, that kind of thing is what all of that's going to go to. So just a quick... Nero, yes, it did. It came with a standard flow. So, I'm pretty sure, and Jason will confirm, I'm pretty sure this kit is not going to come with a hot end. I think the idea is you'll be able to self-sort your hot end, but don't quote me on that. This is, I'll let Jason confirm that. This kit, as sent to me, came with a Dragon standard flow, and it is in there. Asger, the V0 kit, or my Switchwire kit, had a SD card, but it was the 128 megabyte one that Big Tree Tech supplies. So I don't think necessarily LDO put that in there specifically. I think that was there because it came with the mini E3 controller. Oh, this box... Thanks, Jared. He said they did a poll and most people said they'd rather source their own. When will the Voron team design their own hot end? Who knows? There's Jason. Everybody say hi, Jason. Oh, bye, Charlie. Knock over the camera. First show of LDO 2.4 tester kit. Thanks, Steve. We will have a bunch of minor issue in the kit. Yep. And with great help and full test by Voron Dev, we're expecting to ship our first production in January. Yeah, so expect us to find things to give feedback on in this kit. It is not going to be perfect. It's not, but the intent is to use this to give a better kit to the customers. Thanks, Sanity, for Charlie. Okay, so this box, it does have the little ADXL input shaper toolkit, similar to what came in the Switchwire. All of the stepper drivers. This is the extra Omron micro switch for clicky, and it's labeled as such. All the parts to print a steppy. The screws and the 5mm shaft. There's some plastic end pieces for the DIN rails, which is kind of nice. They do a different electronics layout on this than will be in the spec. These are a terminal block for the mains power. Instead of so this would be the replacement for like a Wago setup or whatever. I'm gonna have to figure out how to assemble this because I was looking at this briefly and I'll have to figure out exactly what the process is to assemble it. And then this is the neat box that makes all the wiring easier. All the custom PCBs. So we have a XY micro switch PCB, the toolhead PCB, and check that, custom black PCB with red silk screen, as well as its companion board for in the there we go, the companion board for under the electronics bay. And then this is not the same end stop PCB as Hart's, but it's similar for the Z end stop. And a little splitter PCB for the LED lighting. Okay, Sanity. I think I'm in the older generation, and I saw it on NeroStream. What did POG stand for again? I mean, in my generation, it's the little cardboard circle game from the early 90s. But play of the game, that's right. That's right. I saw that on the stream last night, I just forgot. Back in my day, yeah. Let's go real quick, last few boxes. We've got pretty sure a genuine Meanwell power supply. Recommended, and these come from Meanwell set to 230 volts. So I don't forget that. We will set that to 115 right now. Motor kit is going to have things are this would be an A or B stepper pre-terminated with a short wire. That's nice. These are whatever that is. Without my readers, I'm not going to try to read that. This is the AB steppers. They're 48 millimeter 2 amp. And then the Z steppers are that. Yeah, these are the 48 millimeters, Jared. The Z stepper, the 48 millimeter 2 amp, I'm assuming 0.9 degree. The Z steppers are going to be the 48 millimeter 2 amp 1.8 degree, but they're not high temp because they're not in the chamber. That's why they have a connector on them too. Bunch of wires in here, and then a pre-terminated, which is nice because this wasn't pre-terminated on the switch wire kit. 20 millimeter pancake stepper. And this is the same 1.8 degree one that's used in Afterburner. Last box before we get started, I think, are the rails. And I believe at least this kit, so there's our MGN12 for the X-axis. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got Y and then Z. Okay, so MGN12 for X and then a MGN9 for each other location. Did I say something else than Nino 17 there, Jared? I wouldn't doubt if I misspeak. The Octopus is a regular, the standard 1.1, I believe. I haven't opened it, but I did look at it through the foil, and I'm pretty sure it's been resealed. Jason, are you around? Can you confirm this? Because this is kind of neat, actually. Let me open this up. Let me open this up. don't know if... I don't think that Big Tree Tech did this, but somebody colored all the positive voltage connections for easier identification from the top. You can see it on top of the screw heads here too. So that is useful. Let's see. Tomas Zeman, 50 euros. Thank you, Steve from SKCZ. Thank you very much. This one, just to confirm, is the STM446. So I'm pretty sure LDO did that and resealed the package. So that's a nice little thing. Nice little detail. Okay. Let's get to the fun part. I'd like to think I had a little bit to do with suggesting the red paint on the controller. I've been doing that for a long time, and I mentioned that. I think I've mentioned it on here before. So. So, resources. So, installation resources. Let's switch over to my other screen here. So, we are the main Voron Design website, where you can get the current STLs. Now, we're going to build this with the R2 parts, which are not released. And they're not going to be released until there's a complete package. The assembly manual requires a revision, a major revision to match. So, but we will be assembling it with the R2 parts. The current parts that are out there will result in a perfectly working and functioning and well-performing printer as well. Zerwi, a few minutes ago I showed some parts named Steppy. What is Steppy? Is that a motor to mod to Voron? No. Steppy is the LDO mascot. It's a little printed caricature of a stepper motor. Hi, Sanity. I think 30%. Nero might know for sure. Dark Knight Tuner, yeah, I'll talk about the R2 stuff. I've mentioned it. I've shown some parts on stream over the time. It's a minor update. It's not going to be worthy of a Voron Live or anything like that. It's basically melding some of the changes from Trident over to 2.4. So. Let's see, so we have the Voron site where you can get this stuff, plus this documentation link here, which takes you to some more in-depth documentation. I've downloaded the assembly manual, and with any of the LDO kits, before you start, make sure that you familiarize yourself with the changes. So they have a printed parts guide out here, and the wiring guide is not complete. So we'll be winging it on the wiring unless they can get something to me quicker. Is 2.4 getting GE5C? No. The R2 does not include a GE5C mod. So the printed parts guide, there are some changes. The Z end stop nozzle probe, they have a custom PCB which requires a custom part. You get it in these spots. The cable chain parts, they're just mentioning that you want to download the IGUS or 2-hole version. Across the printers, we're going to get away. I'm pushing to remove the IGES and generic designations and instead naming them 2-hole and 3-hole. So that should get hopefully a little more intuitive. The electronics compartment plug panel. Oh, I forgot to print this. No, not that one. This one is the inlet. They use a inlet that has 1.2 millimeter spacing on the locking tabs. XY end stop has that microswitch PCB, so there's a unique part for that. Yeah, Nero's right. Documentation. We want to release a complete package. We don't want to generate a lot of issues for folks that are coming into the project fresh and are trying to reconcile updated parts versus older screenshots and manuals. Hi, Killer Prince. I'm doing well. Have fun with your trident. Breakout PCB mount. That extra little PCB in the electronics compartment has a mount for it. I actually forgot to print that, but that'll be probably after Christmas before we get to there, so I have plenty of time. LED splitter spacer. This is to mount that little breakout board. You just VHB it to the side of the extrusion, I think. The LED light strips they're recommending the Eddy pieces, which I've printed out. They're around here somewhere. Jimmer, we are not speccing per se a magnetically docked end stop yet. Hey, I think you guys have actually exceeded my Stealth Burner concurrent viewer account now. That's awesome. Handlebar spacer, those die cast whatever handles for the top, there's a little printed spacer to make those fit with the panels. Chris Luttermilk, I missed it. The kit comes with the clicky probe mod. It comes with the extra micro switch in order to do, and plenty of extra 6x3 magnets, so you could do the clicky probe. Oh, thanks, Jason. Thanks for the clarification. But it is something that you guys initiated, which is awesome. And they were able to do, marking those, that we're talking about marking red the appropriate spots on the octopus. Colored the terminal since one dev made mistake for connecting. Nevermore filter includes parts to include it, but not the media. And then there's a exhaust cover. If you're going to use the Nevermore filter, you don't need the big bulky exhaust cover. So LDO designed a little piece, and then the clicky probe stuff. So I think I've caught all of this except for that Breakout PCB mount printed. I can bring out the parts. Skyblock is Pog. Thanks for the $4.99. If I were to self-source and wanted to buy parts for Voron Trident, what would I need first to get started? You would need a link to the sourcing guide. If you go to the page here and go to Trident, and I think, or actually you can go to help and go straight to the sourcing guide, or you can do your configurator, build a BOM for the size that you want, so you get your extrusion lengths and all that stuff, and then you go to the sourcing guide and start looking at what you have versus what you need right here. And along the bottom here there's a Trident tab. And yeah, I think Sanity's correct. Fully charged? You want the opposite of that, right? An empty credit card. The Mr. Caveman, thanks Steve for sharing, and LDO for the awesome kits, and thank you for the 20 euros. Appreciate that. Thoughts? My first thoughts is I love the individual packing, the organization, what I see of the wiring and what I know from previous kits. It's going to be I hope it's going to be a joy to build. Is it correct that Trident will be easier to get IDX on as the gantry is fixed? IDX. I'm missing something there, Alex, if you can clarify. Yeah, good point, Jared. The bomb, you need a combination of them, and then a healthy dose of self-confirmation and on things, because probably the area that has the most inconsistency and whatever is in the between the bomb and the sourcing guide. They're just such complicated, I mean, so many things on those documents, and we're trying to cover as many situations as possible. Yeah, Jason's talking about the 48 millimeter 0.9 steppers. I have some of those that, those are what quieted down my orange Trident here. So they work in terms of quieting down the resonance. IDEX. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. There was a missing E there on Alex. Thanks, Jared. Yeah, I think anytime you're dealing with fewer moving parts in the area where you're going to make more complicated, it should be easier. Yeah, some terrible resonance on the orange Trident before I change the steppers. I got to be careful because I installed that thing with some things that Jared was trying and wanted me to try, and throwing those 60 millimeter steppers on there. I don't know how many people were asking me about where they can buy those, and they're about to order them, and I'm like, wait, these things are really loud. Are you sure? Do you know why you want to do this? I got to be careful. I got to learn to be careful on that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, let's look at printed parts. So I'm trying to sort this out into things that we could potentially get to today. So this is all printed in Polymaker gray ABS, which is the first time I've used Polymaker, and the print quality turned out really rather nice. And Lulzbot KVP Lulzbot green ABS. Yeah, I blame Jared for everything. Jared or Ray? So I think that is going to work pretty nice together. What do you think? I'm stepping out. You know, another blame Jared. He suggested, we were on a chat one day and I was looking for color options. He really wanted me to do light silver metallic from KVP instead of the gray, but my wife overrode that and said the gray would be better. So I have started to put some heat sets in. I don't want to clog the builds with a lot of tedious work. So I've left some to do on stream and some are pre-inserted. I'm looking forward to having a funky color 2.4. Everything else is relatively safe. Dark gray graphite with silver in the orange frame. And my other V2 is the same color with the green frame. I do have a 300 build here. I don't have a surprise. Oh, that's something we forgot to look at. The build plate. Comes right like this. I haven't fully opened this. I have pre-applied everything, I think. Yeah, the green frame, that is by far my favorite. It's really close second is that orange. But yeah, that's Jared's fault too. He's going for a 60s muscle car kind of motif with the chrome fasteners and, well, stainless fasteners, but thanks, Alex. I'm glad you like it. Okay, we don't need all this. The thermal fuse pre-applied. Silicone reasonably well applied. Everything's pre-crimped and all the lengths I think are supposed to be correct. A LDO flex sheet. It's textured on both sides. I think it's about the same. It's actually pretty nice. Let me grab one of my switch wire plates and see how the texture compares. And then so the magnet is applied, but we're gonna have to take an X-Acto knife and cut the notches for the hardware. We're not perfectly centered, it's overhung a little bit on this side. But that's not too bad. It's close, it's definitely close enough, and we got good attraction. Let's see. Let me grab the switch wire textured sheet. That'll be a mess. It is a finer texture than what's on the switch wire. I like that because I like the finer texture. That's why I really like the Prusa flex sheets. But it is a slightly finer texture. Just the fuse or integrated resettable thermostat? Yeah, it's just the thermal fuse. It's what we spec. We have... Is this... Oh, okay. That's a little odd. There's a couple extra holes here, but I think they know about this. I think I saw some chatter about that. It looks like some holes on going from the other way for a trident pattern, because I noticed one here, and then we got a hole here and here. So those are not going to be in the way, and they're not going to be a problem. Let's see. Put this back in here. Set it aside. What is this? Can someone delete that? Let me see if I can do that. I gotta learn how to do this crap. I assume that voi.fyi is spam. I'm gonna remove it. That's the same kind of comments I get on my videos that get auto filtered. Okay, let's move over to the assembly manual and get started. Berserker Dirk, they're on the correct side for a 2.4. I'm sure Jason might be able to clarify what's going on with those extra holes there. If it's installed on a Trident and you move everything to the other side, it'd probably be fine. They may be working on a universal, like a lot of places are doing universal plates between the two, which have the mounting patterns for both. Here, let me do this. Hold on just a second. What do you think, Jared? Tell me if you don't want to do that. Just so you can post links if you want to or whatever. Hi, Juan Carlos. Okay, so we are on the assembly manual. So this is the current assembly manual. It is the oldest in the lineup. There are many improvements that Dinar has done on the later manuals, mostly for the V0, and I just made you a moderator. Yeah, on the V0 and the Trident. So this is one of the things that we'll be doing before the R2 stuff is actually released. You did, Berserker. You saw counterbores on the heater side, and I don't know the full story on that. That's the first time I saw those. Theoretically, it's probably actually better to flip it like that, as long as you can keep it straight in the assembly process, especially since they're pre-assembling these, because then you don't have the counterbores all on one side, which it doesn't matter really. As long as they assemble it right, it could go either way. This is not yet available, but it's coming as a full kit. You can buy the frames right now. You can buy this blue frame right now. But as a full kit, it's on its way. So, let's work through here. We are about to work on something that has mains wiring involved, and tools, and sharp objects, and stuff. So, warning. Some of the information on how to determine which parts are primary versus accent color, and how many. So all the file names should start with a bracket if it's an accent color, and it should have a X and then a number for the number of them that you need to print. Some of the options. So a lot of this, like I said, this is an older version of the manual. Some of this language may be have been revised since. Let's move on. Information about mains power and printed parts and stuff. The type of things that we're going to be building with. The type of screws, hardware. Okay, let me, I should zoom this in a bit for you guys, sorry. I mean, I need to zoom it in a bit for me. Grub screws, bearings. And this will be our first part of the assembly. I'm hoping that this slab here is going to be adequate for doing a reasonable job on assembling the frame. So, we are going to start by selecting our extrusions. So, getting our extrusions together, let's go to the next. And then we're going to use blind joints, and we're going to do just basically assemble a corner. So I have a bunch of extrusions here. I've kind of sorted them already. So we're going to go here. We're going to start on the bottom. So this is going to do like this. And then with the tops. So the LDO Extrusions, and I'm not quite sure why, but it doesn't really matter. 3 of the bottom, so you see that there's a groove in the bottom of this one. For aesthetic reasons, I want to make sure that I'm consistent in where I put that groove. It doesn't matter at all in the assembly. As long as you have your blind joint holes in the right spots, and on a 2.4 it doesn't matter, it matters more on a Trident. This doesn't matter, but for aesthetics, I want to make sure that I'm going to probably hide that groove. So for the bottom extrusions, I'm going to point them straight down, so they face the floor. And for this rear extrusion, I'm going to point it to the back. So we're going to do something like this. And I'm guaranteed to knock something over at some point, especially if I let it sit there balanced. And I have my way of assembling a frame, which I usually do out over in my kitchen where I have a lot more room. And in the order of operations, basically it amounts to I just kind of put it together and make sure it's square at the end. For this, I'm going to try to follow the kind of the guide and the manual and see how it goes. So if I fumble a little bit, it's because it's not quite what I normally do. So we're just going to put these here like this, and I'm gonna start here with my ball end so I can So one thing I do and that I'm going to continue doing, even though it's not in the manual, is I grab a reference flat where is it? Reference flat object and then a clamp. So give me about 1 minute to go over to the other garage and grab a clamp. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Dead Bob, isn't the groove for the T-nuts? No, I don't. As long as the T-nuts are of the proper shape, they go in either way. Quickly replace that with an orange frame. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to, I've grabbed a couple of clamps. I don't know if I'll need them both. So all this is doing is now setting a point for this end piece. Let's take this off for a minute. So straight down, straight against there. And that. And this guy can go in here. Oop. I apologize for all the noises. I'm not going to be able to get rid of all of them. That goes there. So we're using this granite surface as a reference point there. And then that is nice and flush and square and all good. Loud noises, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll try to pay attention to that. And we are square. Okay, so that's what they want us to do first. I'm kind of improvising my normal process and kind of mixing it with the manual, so we'll see how it goes. So we've got this first set here, and then they want us to basically build up the bottom. So let's go around and do that. This will be interesting. Yeah, that'll work. No printed jig. Well, it's hard to print something when this is a much better, a better jig for this. You got to be practical about your printed jigs. Do a slight snug and then tap flat on the slab of granite. Use a dead blow or tap all 4 sides flat. Rotate cube, repeat until all sides are good. Yep. Let's see. I could use like an extra, like another 8 inches of this surface would be nice. But this is what the place had when I went to grab it, like the day before I did the switch wire stream. Yeah, I set you up for that. You can't be serious. Did I hit all of these right? Yeah. Maybe I'll go here first. Sanity. Yeah, one of the pre-checks I did was check that all threads were deep enough, and they are. I had one extrusion that was slightly less deep than the rest, but it was still enough to assemble just fine. I've never Loctited the frames, any of my frames. It won't hurt. There's no real reason not to. Yeah, Yves, touche, sorry. Another extrusion, yeah, will absolutely take the place of that square. I just have the square. Okay, I need to give enough. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, cross thread it. One more. What is my orientation? Make sure I'm correct in all these. Sorry. What is going on? I feel like I've got a bad bolt here because even though I'm using a button head screw, it's rolling out. So let me check this fastener. Hi, Zarp. Yeah, that's a bad fastener. Straight to the trash. I don't care who you buy your fasteners from, McMaster, whatever, you're gonna get a percentage of bad ones. That's why nobody should be doing a kit with exact count fasteners, which has happened. There we go. Okay. I'm going to designate now, so I can keep things straight, I'm going to designate this the front bottom. I'm just throwing a little piece of tape on it for now. Jared, yeah, it was something listed on the 2.2 guide that got retired. 16mm screw length has enough thread that shouldn't have any issues, but if you've got a giant bottle of purple, yeah. There's nothing here more than just a little piece of tape for me to remember this is where I want the front bottom of the printer to be based on where I put those grooves in the extrusions, just for aesthetics. Yeah, most fasteners come in multiples of at least 10 or 25. So you usually end up with extras anyway. Okay, back to the manual. We've got this. So we're at this point. And now we're going to turn it over and do the top. How am I going to do this? I'm not going to do it at the top. I'm going to do a side at a time. And I probably need to make some room back here. What I should have done is made something that was exact height of this so I could support the printer, but it'll be close. Okay, so that is that. So let's... Sanity, the grooves aren't really any significance. like someone said, a good point is they help to center a drill if you're drilling holes. Yeah, drill guide. Okay, so just remembering that my reference point, I'm gonna put my grooves facing down. I'm going to put some pressure on this. That has to go that way. So let's see if we can get some more. There we go. This only works if you keep things pressed in the spots that they're supposed to go. So putting pressure down and this way and that way. And then when that pulls into place, so that, I don't know if you could tell, but this was angled that way, and as I tighten that down, it moves this way. So you want to make sure that you're holding this square for that final tight. Otherwise it could come off, and that's all fine. So keep that over here. We make do with the jigs and tools we have, right? Close up of the groove. I got an extra piece from my 1.8 frame. So if you see here, that is no groove. The last one, that is the groove. Yep, exactly, Jared. What you can, where you are with what you have. So, these frames are made in some factory somewhere. There's always going to be something that comes through, right? You're going to get maybe a scratch, maybe a hole isn't tapped deep enough. This particular extrusion here looks like it was dropped. It's not the end of the world, and it's not going to show on the printer. But what I did have to do is I took my file, I took just a flat file and very lightly and just a tiny bit of material at a time ran it straight across the end here, so that where it flared out, I don't know if you can tell, but where it flared out from dropping isn't going to affect its ability to assemble into a square frame. So just a very light running across here until that whole surface is nice and flat again. So I've identified this piece. I'm going to put it at the top rear extrusion. That's the next one I'm going to install. So once this is installed, although it's not perfect, it could be fixed. And that's been reported LDO, and they will be, yeah, and it is straight. There's no twist to it. It's hard to tell because where it drops flares it out in several directions. But that's another reason I can't tell I guess I shouldn't say it's not twisted, because the wobble I could detect, I could point to that. But I'm going to put it at the top rear extrusion. It's not going to have any effect if it's twisted or not. So that is this guy right here. I think your question got answered, Chris, on the 110mm printed jig. It's for those Y gantry extrusions to make sure they're the same distance from the top extrusion. Jason's answering about the groove, about the mini groove. We made only one groove from the beginning, but we recently changed to 4 groove, and there have been may have been some overlap in the kit. Okay. You know, the Misumis have it in all four spots. The kit is not available, but it's incoming. Okay, what direction am I going? Yeah, I haven't noticed any difference in how the T-nuts go in either, between having the groove or not. And I've assembled more than a few of these. Oh, none of the extrusions were bent. There wasn't a bow in any of the extrusions that I could tell on this surface. This is about the best surface I have. So work my way around here. Over there. I basically set every extrusion on and rotated it to every side to feel for twist or rock. Wow, you guys are blowing away my concurrent viewer record. That's awesome. One more. Hi, Chris Travis. I think that's a good sign when you tighten everything down and, let's see here. Without being fastened, the last one is pretty much in place, right? It's a pretty good sign when this joint, that's not tightened down and it's in the right spot. So, okay. That is... Ooh, I might have to zoom out for this thing. What is Max here? There's no V24001. There's no such thing. V24000 exists. There's no 001. Yeah, any of these little squares, there's probably dozens of them on Amazon or whatever. Oh, I could be getting my history mixed up there, Sanity. Oh, okay. Thanks, Kilo. Is Max here? Yeah, I don't see. Anyway. Where are we at? This is not going to be a rush through it build. I'm not trying to get this done in a day. So. See you, Chris. Thanks for being here. Like I said, these are going to be smaller chunks, so I hope smaller chunks. I hope that it's easier for folks to consume after the fact if they need to. Okay, so we should check for square, and let's just do some general, and then I'll do some measurements. That is perfect. That is good. Very good. John, this is a 300, yes. Honestly, my preference probably would have been a 250. I just like the 250 size. This is what the initial production is going to be, I believe. So that's where we're at. I don't have a great way to do this measurement, but let's see if we're at least somewhat in the ballpark, or can get some. Yeah, that's spot on. Trying to hold it flush on this side at the corner. The radius of the extrusion is putting it at just under 650. Both directions. Same thing there. Yeah. Hi, Kosh. You missed most of assembling a frame and going through the contents of the kit. Other than that, just kind of working our way through it. Everything so far has been within a fraction of a millimeter of on, so I'm gonna call it good. Hey, Charlie. Charlie had a rubber band. Don't need him eating that. Okay, back to bottom front. I'll see the contents of the kit when it gets installed in the frame. That's true. Okay, back here. So we have the main part of the frame done. Now we're going to install these. So we're going to need a M5 shim, some M5 by 10s and 16s. Now one of the things that the early versions of the manuals don't have are the T-nut positions. There, it is implied that anytime you're bolting, you're not bolting into anything in the frame unless there's a T-nut there. Sanity, I don't need to train Charlie to visit me. He is attached to my hip. I am his human, and that's all there is to it. If I'm around, I mean, my wife can be home on the day off, and she won't see the cat all day. He'll be sleeping somewhere. As soon as I get home, he's at my desk. So, one thing that will be changed for the CAD on R2 is I put all the T-nuts, modeled them in like I did on Trident. You'll be able to select just the frame and see the T-nuts in the frame. So there are going to be builders out there, depending on where they source the parts, are going to have trouble with the T-nuts sliding in like they should. So hopefully that's useful for people. Something I think I forgot to mention in the looking at all the parts. It comes with nicely anodized, matching anodized angle brackets for the bed extrusions. Martin Downs, what about Loctite? Only where explicitly stated or everywhere? It's up to you whether you use Loctite on the frame. I don't. It's not going to hurt, but I haven't had any problems not doing it. It's one of those kind of, we have probably about 50-50 of people recommending one way or another. It doesn't, whatever you prefer. Massage, I've been wondering this, how does 2.4 get away with a shorter frame while keeping the same Z height as, say, Trident? It doesn't. So I think if you go to the configurator and you spec let's do it. If you go to the configurator, and you spec a new build, blind joints, I don't know, it doesn't really matter any of these choices, 300, you're going to see your build volume is not 300. So you get less. Now a Trident is unique in that we restrict the Z volume by easily available lead screw lengths. But this isn't a 300 millimeter cube. This will be a 300 by 300 by, and I think 280 is generous. I don't think you'll actually hit 280 with the Bowden tube, and Stealth Burner's a little taller, it might get in the way. Mathieu? I will try. I mean, no offense when I mispronounce someone's name. I hope everybody understands that. Yeah, that happens, Lars. There are very slight difference in the profile, the shape of the T-nuts that either determine either success or failure on it. I'm going to set this out of the way because I want some room on my plate here. Because I'm going to bolt these on first. Nailed it. Good. Stephen Mikado, I did request blue. I was looking at my printers and what colors I had, and I like blue, and the only blue printer I have is my V0, so I got a little more blue on my desk now. Hi, Pex Peppers. I'm just making sure that these are square. This bottom surface is the important one to be square. It's shifted off to the side a little bit, and for my own OCD, I'm going to redo that. There we go. I'm glad to hear that, Pex Peppers. I'm very excited that you had a successful build. Now, I forgot my own rule on my own preference on that groove, so I'm going to redo this again. Turn it over. Nix code. We 2.5 is not in the works, not even a glimmer in anybody's eye yet. The upcoming, here's another bum fastener. The 2.4 R2 release, which is a minor parity release with Trident, will include all of the electronic stuff and a bunch of other things. We're building this 2.4 as the R2 revision. Mark Taylor, yes, this is a 12 volt power supply that is underneath, mounted to the bottom side of this. This switch turns it on, and I think, no, that one doesn't get loud. The one I had there before used to get loud. This switch turns it on. I used to do some other electronics work at this bench. I used to do a project called Megasquirt, if anybody's into automotive. It's a fuel injection retrofit, open source fuel injection retrofit system. So that's why that's there. So I could easily plug in, it's because it's automotive, so everything was 12 volt. Plug things in to test. Stephen Mikado, the groove is just aesthetics. I'm just hiding the groove since there's only a groove on one side of these extrusions. When you tighten these down, the head of the screw likes to shift the part. Here, I'll fix that. There we go. Lars Hansen, any difference in the printed parts for 2.4 R2? It's almost only differences in printed parts. There are a few things. So the MGN 12 from Trident is included and moved over. Optional guitar amplifier feet for the Z drives, which require different printed part. And then along with that, you'll need to modify your bottom panel if you use it. Apparently most people, aside from me, don't even install the bottom panel. I install it on all my printers. But yeah, I used to help a friend do a business. It's called RS Autosport. If anybody's familiar with that in the Megasport community, it's long gone. It's been 15 years, or maybe not quite that long, 10, 12 years since we did it. But RS Autosport, we used to do custom modifications for the Megasport as well as pre-made wiring harnesses. DIY Auto Tune started, I think, after RS Autosport started. Okay, so those are installed. I wanted to make sure on a flat surface. I did not want any twist on the bed rails. I wanted them flat so that when they get installed to the frame, the bed is all starts on the same level. Thanks, Pex Peppers. It's what I don't want. These aren't step by step. I'm trying not to make them step by step guides. But if people can pick up tips, that's a win. That's exactly what I want. Okay, let's bring this back. Go to the manual, and we've got to set these in at a precise. Oh, they don't actually tell you here? Does it say here? Don't tighten these down too hard at this stage. We'll want them loose when we install the heated bed assembly. Okay, well I guess I'll just install them and then we'll tighten them down later. So we're gonna go this. We need to grab some M3 by 10 or M5 by 10. Box. Hi, 3D Printing Cave. Are you sure, Jared? I feel like there's somewhere here. Let's scroll down. We got Z drives to install. We got this. Put this on. Wow. I guess not. Okay. Sanity, did you also do that concentric cable twisting? I saw a few people use it for their Voron builds. They look awesome. The actual concentric wiring looks really tedious to do, but awesome. I haven't taken the time to try it. You're talking about having a core of wire and then there's a concentric. So you wrap a coil of cable around one way and then coil of cable around the other way, right? And then that allows the wire to go through a bend with a constant stress on the wires, something. I'm doing a poor job of explaining it. There's a lot of videos out there. If you go on YouTube, it's used a lot in motorsports. It's super interesting, but seems like it it's one of those things that takes a significant amount of time. I haven't been able to do it yet, but it's on my radar. I'm gonna go back up here. Sorry about all the scrolling. Let's get back to where we were. They want us to start installing, oh, that's what I forgot to print. The Z end stops, the little bumpers, stoppers. Oh well. Okay. Need some shims and some M5x10s. 2, 3, and 4. Screw and a T-nut works as a temp end stop. Okay. I think the rails also have the little stopper I can just leave in them. TDG, Jason posted on the Discord a very unofficial, Jason posted it, but it like $12.50 is what he posted in the LDO channel on Discord. But that is not, it sounds like that's not final pricing. Oh, that's interesting. Let's put the shim in first because the head of the other bolt is getting in the way. There we go. We need some M5 T-nuts and we'll get to see how well these work. Yeah, if it's $12.50, that's a steal. Oh, that went right in by hand. 2 in a row. Let's see what percentage on my previous builds with the LDO hardware. I've got about a, I don't know, somewhere between a 5 and 10% failure rate on ones that go in easy or more difficult than others. I don't know if someone can go. I know Jason just posted it, so I don't want to misquote. But if someone wants to jump on Discord and find that post, it was right before this stream. Someone asked. So I'm fighting, and I've seen this before. I'm fighting the head. So the head of the other screw is in here, and it won't allow you to go straight in with the cross screw here. So set it in there first, and then just kind of very loosely tighten it because you'll have to do the same thing on the other side. There we go. I think I spent, like, honestly, with shipping and everything, I think it was like $2,400 for my first Voron. But that was quite a while ago. The options, the less expensive sourcing options, were not the same as they are now. Hi, Richard Knight. Thanks. So, if you don't mind, are you going off of what is on Discord, or are you associated? The hot end is not part of the kit, right? That's what I think Jason was mentioning. Is the hot end? There was a poll, and people prefer to source their own, so it may not be. Didn't use the bottom panel clips with a lever on a Trident. About to print the clips and looking for it. If you go into the Trident repo, and I think it's in the electronics or the panel folder, you'll find it, and they'll be named like 3mm or 4mm. depending on the thickness of panels you're using. Okay, thanks for that confirmation, Kilo. Okay. Okay. So I think the bed rails are 150 millimeters apart, center to center. Is that right? Thanks for the clarification, Jason. Christopher Swanson, I will be doing all of the upcoming revision 2, 2.4 stuff, which does include the Trident X-axis. Hey, Israel. So what is this, 150 millimeters between these? Is that our... It's in general. So, someone say 100 and... Someone was giving me some measurements here. 125 from the upright for a 300 build? That doesn't sound... Does that sound right? It does sound right. Okay. Let me grab a... Ah, this is probably too big. Ah, I don't want to ding that either. That one's too big, so I'll have to use my little machinist square. I want to get these on right now, I think. So that's about there. And then we're going... right on 125. That is, I'll tweak that on the other side. I turn it around. What does that put us? Puts us right at 150 in between. Yeah, that's right on flush with the front. What do we got? There is a tool for drilling the holes in your bed, but I don't think there's a alignment tool for this. I am bound and determined to put a ding in this printer. I think I just did. At least it's on the back. Israel, of the list there is absolutely do not recommend PETG, ASA or ABS. PETG is terrible for printed parts on any printer that you're going to have a warm chamber. Oops. 125, 125. I mean, I'm really curious. I mean, if they're going to enclose the XL and they're still going to use PETG, I guess it's still to be determined what they're going to do, right? But Mark III is not meant to be enclosed. We are good. We're gonna call that right there. Yeah, that what Jared said. If they're gonna actually have an enclosure option on the XL, I bet they do some sort of change to their printed parts. L&B, so far, I mean, if the draft shield is not going to get where you need to go for large ABS prints. It's going to work for the small stuff, but to be a proper ABS or that type of material printer, they're going to have a full enclosure. Okay, I'm going to call those good. Now we're going to install the Z rails. So let's do some prep work on the rails next. I am going to pull all of the rails out because we want to select our best two for Y if there is a difference in them. I'm not going to pull the X out. Hi, Matthias. At this point, I'm going to ditch this because I don't think this isn't sealed. I don't think it's a great idea to get grease on it. I missed both of those. There's a trash can right there on the other side of my monitor setup. Sanity, I would assume that these came the same way as any of them, in which case they should be wiped down, evaluated for smoothness, and then a greasing method appropriate to how smooth they are. If there's any roughness, then I'd probably take them apart, and not fully apart, but like I did on the switch wire string. If they are smooth, then I will probably just put some grease along the grooves and work it in. Yeah, so they're going to need some sort of lubrication. To what degree I do will determine on how I feel they are. Hi, Matt. MAP. Yes. Yeet. I am familiar with that one. That one's far too fun to not be familiar with. Lars, I have a roll of that. I haven't tried it yet. I managed to get a roll in the very first offering of it. Yeet. Okay, so we have 6 of these guys. Those all feel pretty good. Handscar, this is all set up for MGN12X. So we've got 6 MGN9s, 1 MGN12. Let me grab some paper towels so we can wipe them off, and then work some grease in there. Hey Kosh, are you the guy who does did the 1.8 build on YouTube, on your YouTube channel? Your name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure if that's who you were. Awesome. I enjoyed those videos. Excellent. Oh, I'm a little disappointed you didn't film it. I would have liked to have seen that. What do you think? Is it worth the upgrade? Okay, let that dry. I think my personal preference on any of these, like I did on the switch wire build, would be to pull the cartridge and put some grease in there and then reinstall it. I wouldn't take the whole thing apart because there's no grittiness here. I don't think that's necessary, but I'm going to try what I see recommended most, which is basically put some grease in the groove on here and work it in. Yeah, this cables forward was definitely one of the parts that was tough to decide against on the 1.8 to Trident change, but we really needed to turn that 180 degrees for things to work. Yeah, I'm glad you like the changes and improvements. Sanity, I have the same question. I would be really curious, but I don't think that's recorded. I would really like to know how many out there that are serialed are full, basically spec builds. I use a flux brush, the cheap bone hair ones you get for plumbing flux and grease, and use the brush to dab it onto the bearings. Well, I have a syringe. I've got some of that EP2 or whatever in a syringe now, and I'm just going to try to kind of work it into the groove here and then move the carriage back and forth. I'm using my fingernail to run the paper towel through the groove to try to get any bits out of there. I know I highly over lube when I do my method of taking the carriage off, but right after that, moving the carriage back and forth briskly several times seems to squeeze any extra out the end, and then I just wipe that off and then they seem to be fine. Okay, all of these are cleaned off, and they definitely have a little drier sound to them. I think I've got my syringe of grease down here. Yeah. Let's see how this goes. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these don't have grease ports. Not a whole lot. I don't know how much is getting in there. Fastener Sorting is definitely my... I've got a nice storage system of bins, but what happens is I try so many things and there ends up being little piles of fasteners everywhere that I occasionally need to sort. I think a lot of the sound, because this is a pretty much more here, hear that, and now it's a much more damped sound now, so there is some grease getting in there. I'm going to try one of these my method and see what I think. This is definitely messier. Let's grab this. So I'm going to do this with this one. And I'm going to just lightly wipe the excess off here so I'm not I'm not getting into the grooves this time, just the flat surfaces. And then the top and sides of the carriage. Okay. The next one, so that one's done. Yeah, I just don't have that stuff, Jared. Oh, I'm out. I'm gonna have to get a drink here in a second. So the next one we're gonna actually take off and grease the way I normally do and see how they feel, how they compare. So I like to put these on the same way, and these stainless steel rails don't have the groove or any identifiers. There's a groove on this side of the carriage, but not on this side, so I'm going to use that as the identifier, and then I'm going to grab a marker and just mark which side that was on, so I can put it back on the same way. This comes off. I'm going to run just a little bit of grease along the bearings. And then push it in between. Then I usually take a small screwdriver and slowly, because they will pop out easily, advance those greased ones into the channel. And then a very small bit of additional grease on the now exposed bearings. Okay, so that. Now I showed this is how I did it on my switch wire build. And if you remember, groove. So the trick I use to put these back on, you can do a printed cartridge piece to help this, and it's probably better than even this, but I stick my thumb there and that holds the bearings in place, and you pull your thumb back as you put the cartridge onto the rail, and we're good. Run this back and forth. Very little squeeze out. I like that better. That's what I'm going to do on the rest of them. Let's see. Yeah, John, those scrapers to keep things out, I mean, they're designed to keep debris out of the bearings. So I wanted to try this because that's the method that I've heard, or what I did first. That's the method I've seen on Discord most. I like what I just did, but there's a risk there. There's a risk in losing those bearings. I don't think the general recommendation is to disassemble these rails. I'm going to call that one done, and then we're going to go through and do these other ones real quick. NYX code, they're secured by a little wire. I can show you a close-up when I open up the next one. They easily get pushed out though. Jared's right. This is, I would be very, if you're not comfortable with it, that that first one I did got some lubrication in there. You can hear it. It's a different sound to these other ones. There is some lube in there, but I'm gonna do it the way I like it. I don't think in our 3D printing environment that it slows it down or whatever versus a heavy grease or whatever is really a factor. Timothy. Hi. I actually have some whey oil. I bought some for my little mini lathe I bought that I haven't finished getting set up. Let's do a quick mark here. So those, you see those wires there that hold the bearings in place? It is a spring, so not much tension will cause those to pop out. Hi, Philip. I think the only way to properly say hi to Timot is to ping him with hi on Discord. I mean, that's just my opinion. And now I'm going to come off of this stream and find I've been banned. We still have music going. Can you guys hear the music? Catch up on chat. Yeah, don't ping Doc. Doc is on vacation, like Jared said. Tim, it's fair game. Okay, yeah, I can hear it now that I've got it really low on my side. Give me about 1 minute. I need to get a drink. My throat's getting dry. Okay. Sumosa, the reason to go from 2 MGN9 to MGN12 is it installation ease. Lining up those two rails is a challenge. Yeah, like Jared said, I didn't read all the way through chat before answering, but also it's easier to get a quality single MGN12. So yeah, I know you guys got it covered. All right, let me finish these off. I like to be able to actually see what I'm doing here up close. There we go. I don't know if I can get a... Push it in with my fingers. Yep, and there is, you can see the bearings try to have come out. Luckily there's grease on there, so everything's kind of holding in, but just a gentle push back into place. There we go. I'm not slathering the grease on here. I'm putting just the tiniest bit in between the balls. Shush. Yeah, I mean, just the tiniest bit of squeeze out when I do that, so I don't think I'm over greasing them. Okay. I'm just using my fingers to push these through the channel. It's actually a little more effective. I'm wiping away almost all the excess. John Pollock, greasy balls are no fun. And thank you. That is true. is working well. Yeah, just a little coaxing along the channel with my fingers, working better than the screwdriver. There we go. A little more control that way, and you don't try to squeeze out. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, there's not a lot of grease in there. Just enough, hopefully. I think the biggest consequence of overgreasing is just going to be it's going to squeeze out the ends and then get on your parts. ABS doesn't like oil, right? Or is it thread locker? ABS doesn't like thread locker for sure. How often do you re-grease your rails, if at all? I think the only one I've done a re-grease on is my original printer, but it also has the most hours on it. I mean, I have 11 printers here. They don't necessarily have a lot of hours, so... Did I already do this one? Yeah, this is the one I already did, but I'm going to redo it. I want to wipe this excess off of this whole thing. There we go. Yeah, it's got lots of excess everywhere. Yeah, I just did a rebuild on my original V2, and all the rails are in great shape. They're robot dig. They're the black, I don't know what they, black oxide or whatever. But I was almost sad moving away from the dual MGN9X setup on that, only because I had it so smooth. But it's working just fine with the MGN12 now. Okay. This was the last one. And all of these felt pretty equivalent, so I'm just going to grab a random 4 for the Z. And a fresh paper towel. Switch glasses so I can actually read chat. DJ Steve in the house, yeah. Okay, grease won't hurt him, that's fine. Yeah, Sanity, I joke with folks that I tell in real life how to find my channel. I say, search for Steve Builds and then scroll past all the Minecraft channels. Well, The character, the player character in Minecraft is named Steve, so can't really get away from that. Manuel Ramos, $4.99. Thank you. We got another day before we'll do the X. Okay, we'll do the X rail when we do the X carriage setup. What lubricant do you use for the rails? It's the Mobilux EP2 is what I'm using. The Mobile Grease Mobilux EP2. That's okay. If I do it as part of another stream, more people will actually see it. The process. Someone who's watching, say, I don't know, 3 days from now rather than today. Oh, what do we got here? Put this away. Put this, just clamp it to my desk right there. Same with this one. Pandronu. Are LDO rails any better than those generic Chinese ones? So if I define generic Chinese as the random 2 trees or whatever I can find on Amazon, something where that isn't a generally recognizable name, I'd say yes, they are better. However, there are a lot. I mean, our rail selection has improved significantly in the past few years. So I think you can find success from CNA, from Robot Dig, from LDO for sure. I'm probably missing some of the other quote unquote name brand stuff out there. I've been very pleased with my LDO rails. I have not used any CNA rails, although I do own a set for a V0. Those will probably go in a Micron build, but the generic stuff I have had problems with. 2 tree stuff I've had to do some extra cleaning on that I've bought off of Amazon because I needed something quick. We are up to 227, I think. Is what my 25, yeah. So it fluctuates. It goes up and down. This is by far the most viewed stream I've done today. I mean, I think this has even exceeded Stealth Burner, I think. Stealth Burner stream, which was my previous high. Okay. So we are going to, well, thank you, Doku. So this will give you an idea of how bad my table here is. I can set this, not going to right now, but I can set this on the table next to me and it won't rock. I can set it on my countertop out in the kitchen and it won't rock. So, deal with what I have. So we're going to use the centered rail installation guide, and Duff, I think you hit a big key point there. One of the nice things about LDO is Jason and Dave. They have ingrained themselves or whatever into the communities, and it's pretty obvious that they care. So it's nice to see that. It's nice to have that. I don't know how they manage to do as many communities as they do, because everywhere you go, every hobbyist segment has LDOs there. It's pretty amazing. Okay, let me grab. Okay, so we have rails there. I need the printed parts for the. I got them in here, I think. Yep. The little printed guides. And clean up the little bit of elephant's foot I have. Just scraping it with my fingernail is good enough. Shield R2044. I think this is number 11. Although I'm not keeping the switch wire that I built. That's still no firm plans, but the idea is the switch wire will be given away at some point. So I think this is number 11. 12th Voron I've built though. I built a fourth V0, and that one was given away to someone else. These are good. These are a nice tight fit. You're going to need a bunch of M3 T-slots. Zeta Tango, that is, the gray is, it's right here. It's Polymaker, Polylite ABS. And the green is KVP Lulzbot Green. Q, hi. Thanks for stopping by. Popped up on your YouTube stream. That's good. I'm happy to hear the algorithm is working. Let me grab some more paper towels just to take care of excess residue. Duff, I've just recently discovered myself, I mean I've heard about it, but I bought some of the Sparta 3D Sparkle filaments, and it's really nice stuff. I did not buy their Cloud Gray. One of the other dev kits is being printed in that. It is a cool color from the pictures I've seen. Hi David English. Thank you, and you're welcome. Did you post the STL of the LGX mount fix you mentioned during the Trident build? Maybe? I'm realizing more and more I need to flesh out my Voron user mods folder. So I'll be working on that. I'll get stuff out there. I know that's I mention things, and not having them immediately available for folks is not fair. So it's just one of those things that's easy for me to kind of forget about and push to the side. Damn you Canaricans and your sparkly ABS. You need to set up a Steve Ultimate Mods GitHub repo. I just need to put stuff in the user mods. We'll see. I need to talk to some people and see what the best way is, because I don't want to put a bunch of extra workload on the guys that have to approve that either. I'm just laying these out in general spot for the T-nuts. I'm going every other one. Appreciate that, David. So what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't need that in the middle one. Or maybe I will. I'll put, it'll be an extra one, I guess. These are all going in nicely. Very pleased. So they're there. I put an extra one in the middle just because it's okay. And 3x8s. Hi, main sale team. Does that meet you? Or is it someone else? You want 11 and one set will have to be side to side. Well, I tend to, I don't know if you can see here, the little bit of OCD in me, I guess. Let's see if this'll show. I point the short end of these to the ends, and then they meet in the middle. You see this? So all the short sides are pointing towards the end. These are not getting tightened, just lining up, and then I'll slide the whole thing down. Oh, hi Lanovar. That's probably a good idea. I keep meaning to set up the beta repo on one of my printers to check it out, because there's a couple of things that bug me. I want to see if they're fixed before I ask about them. Mostly the temperature graph, that it requires a refresh for the scaling to refresh. Yeah, this. Hopefully that's not too irritating, that rocking noise. This has, I mean, the direction of these T-nuts has no bearing here. It might on the Y-rails, because if you put one in the end, the long side of, oh, you know what? With all of these going in here, it's getting to be a lot of friction to slide. So let's start it now. There. .01 is what I'm seeing that on. I'll do the rest of these a little closer. Q, I missed the beginning of the stream. How do you find the kit quality-wise? All the individual components are spot on, regular LDO quality. As a kit, we'll see when I finish the build. The whole purpose of this, though, is not to be building a final as everybody's going to get it kit. It's to find the issues and report them so they don't end up with you or whoever. Hi, Evil Knievel. Okay, I am going to grab... I'm going to be using these. I just want to use it as a guide, and I want to be about 1 millimeter above it. Like I said, I am going to put a ding in this frame before all is said and done. But that's going to be tragic. Okay, those are there, those are there. We are not tightening these. Just bring them down to touch. These are not even... Okay, this, and then we're going to start from the middle. Tighten to the outside. Lenovar, I can send you some screenshots or something of what I'm seeing, because I see it's constant. It's not something that just happens every once in a while. Similar to if you've ever worked on a car, most things you tighten in a circular, spiraling out from the center manner. That's what you want to do on these as well. Okay. This, are you talking about this part of the spacer? Court rows? Okay. That is front. Get this out of the way. Yeah, Dr. Ronnie, hammerheads will work. They are a much bigger pain to deal with. Oh, you're talking about this part? This is the little cover. I've got the... Oh yeah, it goes right... It goes on there like that. It gets pressed in later. But it needs to be enough to where we can slide it underneath the rail. Hi, Mitchell H. Yeah. I'm just using that, and then my ruler is about 1 millimeter thick. It's not critical. You just need some space there. I'm gonna leave these bumpers in here. I forgot to print the end stops. That LDO designed an end stop for these. I'm gonna use it. There we go. Yeah, I figured Evel Knievel, I figured if I was building an LDO blue kit, I might as well wear a blue shirt at least for the first day. Jason, I looked for my LDO shirt. It's somewhere. I don't know where. I have an LDO shirt. I couldn't find it. I was going to wear it. I'm gonna yeet that screw. Bad head on it. If anybody asks if they should do a live build on something, it's got to be yes. You know, there's a little bit of prep work, but the nice thing about a live build versus trying to do a prepared video is you don't have to do all that video editing. I can just wing it. Uh-oh. There we go. You're not wanting to slide. There we go. Oops, too much. See you later, Jared. Thanks for being here. Hi, Maker Viking. Welcome to the stream. Kind of working our way through the manual. Little makeshift spacer. Okay. How are you doing today, Maker Viking? There, this one. notice any. Okay, 2 down, 2 to go. That helps a little bit over there. So far, having good luck with these roll-in T-nuts. And the very tiniest little bit of coaxing, that was nothing. Yeah, I could put the quartz slab back on here and that would, what the hell? That would probably help. It would be a little easier, but I would keep it from rocking, I mean. Where are we at? Right at 3 hours right now. We'll go a little longer. So for anybody who wasn't here earlier, the plan here in order to provide timely feedback on this kit is not to do weekly streams. It's not reasonable for this to take 7 or 8 weeks to provide that feedback. So I will be streaming again tomorrow and the next day. I will probably be streaming for the next 3 days and then take a break for Christmas and come back. I'm planning next Sunday, the day after Christmas, to continue and then continue on until it's done. So about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks total worth of building to finish this. So I know that is not the weekday streams are gonna have to be in the evening for me. There's no way for me to do morning streams during the week. So unfortunately that means that the time won't be friendly for everybody for all the streams, but there'll be smaller bites. So I'm hoping that makes up for it. Hour and a half. Yeah, if I had a Santa suit, maybe. Okay, make sure I don't miss any. And one more. Ought to be cheap, a rental the day after Christmas, huh? You know, when I first started getting a little more into the 3D printer stuff, one of my close friends was jokingly saying, so you're going to start a YouTube channel now? I'm like, no. I don't have the presence or whatever to do that. It wasn't even on my radar. But I did some building in Discord on chat and had a good time with it. So, and now here we are. Evil Knievel, I think there's a couple of, at least one video, I think the Switchwire release video when I really had a beard. But you know, with COVID and the mask and to be honest, my wife wasn't a big fan of it either. I shaved it off about a year ago. Oh. Let's see here. I want to be close to where this is because this can be a pain to move. Well, with the mask, even just the longer hairs would tickle my nose, and it wasn't great. I still am not so sure about the whole editing and doing pre-made videos thing. I like the hangout nature here. I won't say I won't try to do some standalone video at some point, but this is going to be my main thing. I started this really wanting to do it based in Discord, so folks could verbally interact. And the flaw there is that for viewers, other viewers not directly involved, it's not so fun waiting for me to feel like I can interrupt for what I need to say while other people are having their own conversations in the stream. So I switched away from that pretty quick. Stuart Fisher, thank you. That's what I'm hoping to come across with and be. You know, my bigger problem for my own side of, I liked having the long beard. It was cool. I have a cowlick right about here, so it would, without a lot of prep to straighten and oil, my beard would dip in right here, which was really weird and really frustrating. So it took a lot more prep in the morning. So. Beard cowlick is the worst. This is perfect because I mean, my beard doesn't grow ridiculously fast, so I can easily go a week and a half, 2 weeks without touching it. Especially right now where I don't really interact with a lot of people. I work about 3.5 miles from where I live, so it's not a big deal to go in, and I'm more productive when I go into the office. I don't have all this to distract me. So I go almost every day. I very rarely work from home, but when I go, I mean, there's very few people in the office because everyone else is working from home. Beard oil, and the big beard trick I have is don't be afraid of a blow dryer. Blow drying your beard is the magic to really getting that even groomed look. Blow dryer. I tried its beard straightener, the little kind of like a regular whatever hair straightener. I didn't, or it's a brush. It's a heated brush basically. I like the blow dryer better. If you have a long beard and haven't tried a blow dryer, give it a shot. I bet you love it. Okay, yeah, this is a good blue. I'm very pleased with my color choice. Maybe we'll get the countertop back up here just so it doesn't rock all over the place. Heat gun on low. Be careful. Heat gun will get real hot real fast. I work for the state of California, John. I do IT support. I manage an IT service and support group. Salvador Aguilar, none of these, I mean, yeah, I could use a torque wrench, it's just good and tight. It's not critical. Yes, Sanity, the stuff to keep a beard well groomed and presentable and looking good, it definitely... It's ridiculous. The oils and... Dark Nature, not system admin, more client support and kind of organizational enterprise software, license management, that kind of stuff. Kilo's got it right. Turn until it cracks and back off a corner turn. And then reprint. See you, Evil Knievel. Thanks for being here. I'll throw this thing back up here just so we don't have to hear that thing rocking on this table. We'll go a little longer here. Probably do a... We can get away with a 4-hour stream today. Yeah, see you tomorrow, man. Let's go here. So we got all these in. Do not over tighten. I don't think I did. What steppers will I be using? I'm using the LDO kit steppers. You are... ASA is one of the recommended filaments, Sinister Karma. See you, the Mr. Caveman. Thanks for being here. Okay, we are going to... Oh, maybe I didn't need the frame up here yet. We're going to assemble the Z drives. I'm going to put this back down on the floor then. I've got a box of parts here, and we are going to grab the Z drive parts. Not all of them? Maybe one more here. Okay, so I've pre-inserted most of the heat set inserts, but I did save one, just in case anybody wanted to see that. Oh, I missed it. Did I? What do we got here? One. Two. Okay, missing one piece. I know I had them all. Oh, maybe they're in here. Oh, there it is. On the other desk. I left one without the heat sets just so we could do that. Dark Neutrino, good eyes. I was wondering if anybody would see that. We're not going to be installing that in the first round of this build. Probably we'll do a supplemental stream later that will be installing Clicky and Stealth Burner. Okay, so heat set inserts. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a closer look at this. And what I tend to do, I have this tends to help. I have this jaw from my, it's a accessory jaw for my pan of ice. It's brass. It's a nice, small, flat surface. Any little piece would work. I use that on the areas where it's easy to help press the heat set insert flush with the plastic. So let's go through, and you'll see. I'll switch views here. Yeah, that'll probably work, I think. It's not necessary. It just helps push the melted plastic back down. Make sure everything is slowly insert to about there, and then I just press it down with that. And then you end up perfectly flush. You don't have to hold it down even that long. Matthias, any update about Clicky versus Euclid probe? No comparisons. They're both working. I've been doing a lot of holiday printing, so I've been splitting that between mostly the orange Trident and the green V2. The green V2 has a Euclid, the orange Trident has a Clicky, and they're both working. No problems whatsoever. Yeah, all the plastic parts are 3D printed. I think the quality on this turned out really exceptional. This is that Polymaker Polylite ABS. I'm even trying to see if I can get a bad light angle there. Sean Fritz, are you talking about these? That's a Amazon kit I bought for my Weller iron. It's different from the one that is included in the kit from LDO. That doesn't fit my Weller iron, but I love it. It's nice that there's no taper there to catch on the threads like a regular iron has. Lapel, those base plates are interesting. Which mod is that? It's not a mod, it's the new R2 parts. As far as I know, Dark Neutrino, we're still planning on Stealth Burner, and CW2 is a pre-Christmas beta. I printed almost all of these gray parts on the orange Trident. Alex Dubois, do you remember the Z motor of 1.8 without integrated lead screw? I think 1.8 has always officially needed to be integrated lead screw, but just about any stepper is going to work for A and B. It just depends. I mean, you're going to be restricted in how hard you can push it depending on the stepper. I'm using the original 1 amp 40 millimeter LDOs on the green V2 still, and pushing reasonable speeds, and they're fine. Where would we be able to purchase this kit from? So LDO has a vendor list. It should be pinned in their Discord channel, so that'll cover depending on what location you guys are at. So let's go back to, so we got those heat sets in. We're gonna grab some pulleys and some thread lock and some steppers. We're not gonna grab the pulley and stepper yet. We're gonna assemble this pulley stack here. So we have the important part here are these shims. We have 2 shims to either side of this middle bearing, and the rest of it kind of falls into place. Skyblock is Pog. Thank you. $4.99. What color schemes look cool for Trident? Well, I mean, I like the dark gray and silver with orange. Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. That was actually bad, and it wasn't intentional. The orange frame isn't available. It's not out there. It wasn't made for 1.8. So honestly, that was a bad joke. I tend to like to do the muted colors on the colorful frames, just so the frame is the attraction. That's just me though. It's such a personal preference. I'm going a little wild on this frame. Followed your clicky video, and other than names changing some macro names, it worked fine, but still have to baby step the head to get a squished print. Are you using the Auto Z Calibrate? Lapel V, yeah, the revision 2 parts, the complete package needs to be done, which includes the manual and stuff, so they're not going to be released before Christmas. Yeah, I think Jimmer is probably. Are you homing after you run the Auto Z? Because you can't home after that. It sets your offset, and if you home, it screws it up. Okay, I've got a motion parts box. Get some parts, so we're gonna grab a 80 tooth pulley, a set of bearings. Might as well grab all of these because we're going to use them. Gray for a main and overture black for accents on a silver Mitsumi frame. That looks good. I hear that this is a really good match for the silver frames, this ABS, this Polymaker gray. Alex Dubois, would we have the STL for CW2 and Stelfer for Christmas? That's the intent. That's what we're working towards. pulleys. Oh, we need the 60mm shafts. Now these do not have the flat ground in them. All of my self builds, I've not used the flat, but these will in the production kits. So that's the bit of feedback that was already given. So this stack up here, shins, Loctite. You want to know a little secret? I don't usually put Loctite on my grub screws. You didn't hear that from me. No, you should use Loctite on your grub screws. I have not on many of mine, and have not been taught the lesson that that's a bad idea. But will step files also be available? I do not think so. Not for the beta. They will be released for full release, but I could be wrong. I could be very wrong on that. That's probably a good question that I should check. Dumb question says kit for just the printed parts. Well, it's a kit for everything but the printed parts. I know, it's terrible. Okay, we are going to see. I'm going to set a good example. I am going to set a good example. I've got this Loctite stick. It's like a chapstick. And I'm just gonna put just the tiniest bit on there. It doesn't take much. Yep. I've got my readers on, so I have no idea if that focused or not. And we're gonna have it makes terrible chapstick, yeah, I bet. Okay, so we have, and that's not really tight on there, just so the shaft doesn't fall out. 2 spacers, a bearing, two spacers, and then this, which will need some Loctited grub screws. Similar to the switch wire, and I think V0 kits, LDO will be providing these grub screws pre-applied with Loctite pre-applied. It was missed in this kit because they get done in different processes because they have the Loctite applied on them, and that's not normal. They get packaged and processed separately. So you've got a stack up here of the 80 tooth pulley, 2 spacers, a bearing, 2 spacers, and the 9mm pulley. This all gets pressed together, and then the rest kind of falls into place. No other spacers or anything are needed. This is going to drop into here, and all of the reference point is that center bearing. So I'm going to put these on and loosen the grub screws there so I can kind of center the the shaft in the whole assembly. All of this goes in here, and something like that. I'm going to line up just my own bit. I'm going to line up the grub screws to where they're in the same lineup. I need a belt. Don't forget the belt. Need the belt before you put these two halves together. And M3x40s. I'm not gonna forget the belt. This V2.4 mount, much more rigid than 2.2 due to the extra bearing in the front. I like the visual appearance on the 2.2s a little more because it's open. Yeah, I kind of like that too. But yeah, it is a better assembly being supported by that bearing. Couple Ugga Duggas. Do half an Ugga Dugga. A little W Ugga. Yeah, I'll be building this with a Dragon normal flow hot end, but the kit will not come with one based on a hole. Michael O'Grady, $5, thank you. On my first V2 build, I forgot all 4 belts on the Z drives. Notice that when I installed the gantry, did it just go let's look here. So we've got all of this. Oh, I forgot some inserts on all of these. Well, let's do that. I forgot the foot hot end. So for the purposes of this build, LDO did provide a hot end, and what they provided is a standard flow. So that's what we're building with. My intent on this build is to not make you watch me do all the inserts, so I'll have most of them done pre-stream. Okay. Now we're going to put the feet on this one. So we'll get one of these built. We are using the guitar amplifier style feet, although the old compression feet will work as well. Okay, so here is the big difference in the Z drives for the R2. So no hardware change aside from this, and this is optional. We're moving the foot back. So this base plate here is the exact footprint, or very close to exact footprint of the Trident base plate. So it moves the foot in so it's not sticking, because if you just bolted this to the old setup, it would stick out, something like that. I moved it, and that had a really neat and useful side effect. That little hole right there is where the bolt goes. That used to be directly underneath the belt. So if you had too long of a bolt, you could interfere with the pulley and the belt and lock things up. That's no longer possible. You can have a much longer belt or bolt and still clear all of this. So we need the other thing that I did here is you put your hex nut in there. This feature here captures that. So now you don't have to worry about it falling down into the Z drive. So I'm going to throw these guys on here. Sanity, I do plan everything I do on this, aside from the little tedious things like the heat set inserts. I didn't do all of them. I left some to do on stream, but I did most of them. I'll do most of them off stream, but I do plan on showing everything on the build. So that's on there, and now that nut is captured in place and it can't fall through. So go here, and wherever I put my M5x16s, There we go. That gives a little show of the color combo too. But I don't know if you can, if I can get an angle. And not enough light to see in there. Are the RC tools a leftover from a previous hobby? Oh yeah. Yep, there, right there. Kind of previous, sort of, still around. RC cars. Past page 85 on the instructions are the most useless. Okay, talent. It is the oldest manual we have. There is some significant improvements and it's being updated. So. Roberto Mesnick. There are minor changes for an R2 release that's upcoming, and that's what we're building this with. So there is some, the foot will have to come off before this bolt goes in, but with that captured nut, that becomes much less of a problem as far as service holes. Yeah, there will be an update to the manual. That's why the printed parts are, I mean, people are still printing and testing and finding any little tweaks that need to be done. But for the most part, it's solid. Let's get a few more of these assembled and probably call it. So I'm going to call this 20 minutes from now at 4, or at 4. I was looking at it's 1:40 at 2 o'clock my time, which is 20 minutes from now. And see ya, Kevin. That's funny, RWD. Yeah, so as far as we get in the next 20 minutes or so, and then we'll pick it up tomorrow. Probably get these, maybe get these assembled and install them on stream tomorrow. So the plan for the weekday streams will be starting at 6 p.m. Pacific. I am in California. I don't know what. Yeah, I really, I'm not happy with, that's not the right term. It's just the compromise I have to make in order to be able to give timely feedback on this. And, LDO has been very supportive, and I'm hoping happy that I'm streaming this in the first place. So that is what we got to do to get it done. Thanks, Kilo, for the UTC time. Raker, I think the stance is probably going to be, the R1 stuff that you would have now, I think the current stuff will build a perfectly great working functioning printer. There's some quality of life stuff between the Trident that were moved over. It is not a required update. repopulating some of these. Hi, Roberto. What do we have here? But I'm hoping that it will be shorter streams. The weekday streams will be an hour, hour and a half, is the plan. I might get caught up and do 2 hours, but I've also got to get things done leading up to Christmas, so I'm not expecting them to be that long. But smaller chunks to consume later. I will probably, for anybody curious, I will probably, as soon as we're done, kind of take a picture of the progress and use that as the thumbnail and schedule it right after this. So I'm not going to wait until tomorrow to schedule it. I'm going to try to do the scheduling right after the previous one, with the updated kind of the progress picture as the thumbnail, I think is what I'm going to do. Yep, blue stick is Loctite. Okay. So here, just a little bit to hold it in place. Oh, John Pollock, I saw your question on that earlier. I forgot to answer it. I have checked him out. I've watched a few of his videos. It's really neat stuff. I love the scale engine stuff. I don't remember who used to make, what the company was that used to make like a little scale V8 or whatever. I always liked that and thought it would be a really cool project to play with. I feel like they were expensive though. Once again, I'm trying to line these grub screws up just so they're in line with each other for easier, like if I want a retention later, I know where they are. I can hit them both. Did the XY tensioners get updated to account for the issue where the belts grind on R2? I did a very minor update on those to move the tensioning screw in line with the center line of the belt. I'm running that on a few printers, and basically just trying to get some feedback on it. I know a few other of the devs are running them as well. I think that's going to solve it, but yes. So I guess the answer to your question is yes, we did update those. I'm hoping it's the trick, because the whole point of R2 is very minor updates. It's not intended to be major things that might eventually come in as yet unplanned 2.5. I am not lubing these bearings. They're sealed. They're a sealed housing bearing. A rubber seal on these. We considered going back to a 2.1 style spool holder so it doesn't slide down so easily. I never built a 2.1, so I'm not exactly, I don't have a good picture in my head of how that was set up. I don't know what the slide down so easily on 2.4 might be though. I haven't had any problems with that. Is and kind of, while these are somewhat tight, just kind of shift the printed part around to where the important spots line up before the final tightening. Hey Nero, we got another 10 minutes or so. Hey Abe, I wonder if we're related. Who's selling this? This will be an LDO kit. And once again, I forgot those. I think we will continue with the idea of you should be able to have worldwide, a variety of sourcing worldwide for any components that are required to build a Voron. That doesn't mean that, like LDO is doing this tool head board and the custom wiring stuff. You don't need any of that to build the printer though. That's just the added value that they're making in the kit. I don't think anybody, Abe, has pre-orders on these yet. It's a little too early still. But that would be up to the individual vendor on if they're doing pre-orders or not. Oh, and there goes my AirPods. Let me switch real quick. There we go. I'm in California, Abe. I'm in Sacramento area. Okay, 2 done. What do we got? Another 5 minutes? We'll finish these off tomorrow. So another 5 minutes if anybody has any more questions or chats. I don't have any room for any more printers, Abe. I have, well, I mean, it's basically 11 or so printers sitting here in this little garage. So I think we did pretty good today. We got the frame. Here, let's do a little, I think I can, let's move these over here, and these over here. There's always room for more printers. That's not true. That's Nero. Let's see. Glasses out of the way. Yeah, all those parts can sit there. There we go. A little view for how this is going to look. Joseph McGurkin, the foot mod is the guitar amplifier feet we used on Trident, and this is just a revised Z assembly to fit those so they don't stick out the edges. Yeah, I would have to do some major rearranging to fit anything more here. So. Well, with that, once again, thank you everybody for being here. I will get a nice updated progress picture and use it for tomorrow's stream thumbnail and get that posted right after this. Should be, what is it, UTC +8? Is that what you said, Kilo? 6 p.m. Pacific time is when we will stream tomorrow, make some more progress on this. I think we'll be able to get all the way through the Z assembly in a in about an hour, hour and a half, maybe into some of the gantry. So with that, thanks again, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.